Hi all you market inventors. Today I'm going to talk about how to get customer referrals to work for you to create your billion-dollar market. Okay, so you're looking for customer referrals, you created your market initially, so then how do you start to get additional customers from the legacy market, or we talk about today's market, to the new market invention that you're creating, or that new disruption that you're creating. So I'm going to walk you through that today on how that works, just the physics of it. Now it's going to be a little bit high level, and we're going to have other episodes like the previous one talking about how to get customer referrals, just explaining this further, but let me get into it right now. So when we're looking at today's market, I'm going to flip the innovation curve, and you may have not heard it, but it's pretty popular out there. It talks about where customers fall in the different phases of adoption, of technology adoption, but it basically is adoption of anything new. And on the one side, you've got the early adopters, you got the innovators. Those are the ones that are just going to be the first to market, right? Those are the ones that are jumping in line to get the next iPhone. And then you have the late majority. Well, the late majority, or even early and late majority, is really the mass market, the big group. That's when the big revenue comes in. And then you have the laggards. The laggards are those individuals, you're probably, maybe your parents, maybe your grandparents, and maybe even your brother, but those are the individuals that are basically not going to get the new technology, and oh, by the way, still have a flip phone, and only until that flip phone dies, then when they have no choice but to get a smartphone, they'll go get a smartphone. It may not even be an iPhone phone, it may be something else. So that just kind of gives you an outline, and you usually see it from left to right, but I'm gonna flip it. So I'm gonna flip it. So it'll be a little bit backwards from if you look up this image online, and I recommend that you look up the sort of innovation or technology adoption curve. So let me talk about that here. And it goes beyond technology. It's any new ideas. This is just how humans think. So when we start today, we're going to start a little bit from the high level. So it's safe to say that the majority in here, today's market, is really the laggards and the majority, right? And now if you keep going here, and I'll flip the side so you can see, this is the arc, this is the bulk here. You hear bell curve, this is the big group. And then you've got this other group that's in your market today. And that breaks up into a couple areas. You got your innovators here. Let me just put in a different pen here so you guys can see. You got your innovators. Then you've got your sort of early adopters. And then you have this big group here, which is really the majority. And the majority is really kind of broken up into two halves depending on what you did. It's the early and late. And then you got the laggards here, right? So these are the laggards. And you don't really care about laggards because, frankly, they're only going to buy from you when they have to, when there's no other choice. So when we talk about the innovators and early adopters, this is who's in your market in the early days. And you really have to nurture these relationships. And even Reid Hoffman, former founder for LinkedIn, even says it this way, is you almost have to focus on the small scale so that it actually scales. Do the things that don't scale early on so that the bigger things, so it scales later on. And just like what they used to do with Airbnb with photos and everything else. So when you think about this, is you really got to focus on this group here and you know, it's the early adopters here, and really understand what is making that work. And then delivering and over-delivering and doing the things that we talked about on how to get a customer referral, you're trying to leverage this because signs that you're talking to an innovator and early adopter, they believe and they're going to jump in and do the work for you because they believe on what this looks like, this vision, your product. Even if you have not done it for someone else, if you can show process and show that it does work, they'll jump in. The majority, early and late majority, they require case studies. So when you talk to an early and late majority person, some words that they may say, who have you done this with before? Can I see some case studies? Have you done it in my industry before? These are all sort of kind of warning signs or just signs that you're talking to a majority person. So that's to the point, is now we start building up the case studies, word of mouth, using testimonials, just asking for referrals for them to refer you to a client. And what's going to happen is, as you build this up, in the case I said, it starts to pull them back. It starts to pull them into the new market, because now they've been wanting to get into this. They just want to see someone else do it. They don't want to be the first. They don't want to be the first. They want to see someone else say, hey, this is a great experience. And those are your early adopters and your innovators. So nurture the early adopters and innovators, work with them, get referrals, allow them to pull the majority into your market. And then once you do that, again, this market will begin to contract. If you're the market leader here, you're in bad shape, because your customers are leaving in droves, because the early adopters and the innovators are pulling them into your market. And that's how the physics of using customer referrals to build $1 billion market works. And it's an important piece. Thanks, everyone. Hey, thanks everyone for watching. Please stay tuned for future videos. We're going to keep the series going, talking about disruption, talking about the market invention process, and talking about how you can build your $1 billion empire. Thanks, everyone.